Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We were just about to come on to cover something else, but as we were coming on the air, a 7.0 earthquake hit southeastern Alaska near the Canada border. There's no tsunami threat from this earthquake, but wow, a 7.0 earthquake. So we want to talk about this. Later in the stream, we're going to have live coverage of President Trump giving out Kennedy Center Honors Medals in the Oval Office live. We're also going to talk about the latest in the drug boat strikes controversy. But we're going to start by talking about this 7.0 earthquake in Alaska on land. So let's get into this, and give me 2 seconds here. I just need to fix something real quick. Okay. And you can see it right here. It's not a typo. USGS 7.0. 7.0 earthquake. So we are going to bring you live coverage of this, bring you some updates, and then we will switch the stream. We will change the topic over to the original topic after we cover some of this. So again, something else to point out here from the USGS. Estimated fatalities, odds are between 0 and 1. Estimated economic losses, odds are between 0 and 1 million. So this is on the lowest level of the estimated fatality and estimated economic losses scale. Depth, 10 kilometers, about 6 miles deep. And then you can see in terms of shaking, so cities exposed, about 1,000 people within the moderate shaking. Actually, no, if we go here. So this is important here. There was certainly some very strong shaking, but it looks, according to USGS, no one or roughly no one in the severe, very strong, or strong shaking, about 1,000 people in the moderate shaking area, and 13,000 people in the light shaking area. So fortunately, does not seem to have impacted significantly populated places, which is certainly good. But let's show you on a map where this is. Look at this. Wow. Southeastern Alaska. You can see right there. Oh, I should get let me get the satellite shot up. There we go. There it is. Southeastern Alaska, close to the Canada border. I have not heard of any injuries at this point, or I'll have to look and see if there's any damage reports or anything. But again, a pretty remote area, not very populated around that area, according to USGS. If we zoom in here, I mean, you can see what you're looking at here. It looks like pretty mountainous there. All right, so, and let me actually show you. You see the white. Now, it's weird. This star doesn't this star look like it's on? I got to get clear on what part of the border is what. Hold on. Let's go back to, let's look at is there a different map we can pull up here? What am I looking at here? So this is Alaska. I mean, it looks like it's right near the border. Am I crazy? Isn't the north side Canada? So is it possible that it actually, I mean, if you look at the star, isn't the star on the north side of the border? Oops, somehow that sent off my Siri. But again, right now, as of right now, the official report is from the USGS is that, let me show you here. Ooh, maybe they said maybe they're saying it's north of Alaska, just north of the border. Let's see here. Let me look on their list. Latest earthquakes. Here it says, I guess right now, I thought originally it said Alaska. It's possible it was right. I mean, this looks like it's on the border. It's possible that it was technically in Canada. Or maybe if I don't know how well they can locate these things, maybe both. Right there, look at this. That seems to suggest maybe it's, yeah, see, this says Southern Yukon Territory, Canada. Originally, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center email originally said this was a 7.0 in southeastern Alaska. I have the actual email from them, and I posted that on my X account. You can see it right here. Right here. Here, look. See, it says location southeastern Alaska. That was originally sent out by the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, 7.0. However, it looks like maybe it's just across the border in Canada. Because this one, it says 7.0, and if you look down, it says Southern Yukon Territory, Canada. All right, so anyways, I'm not positive. How about 7.0 earthquake hits near Alaska-Canada border? I'll change the headline to that because it's kind of unclear right now. But very close to the border. Let's see here. Again, no tsunami risk from this, no tsunami threat. And I do want to put, you can see there's the location right there. And the shake, that's the shake map showing you where the strongest shaking is. But important to note that if we go to the USGS commentary on this, where is it? Right here. Look at this. So it says population in these different shaking areas. 0 population in 0,000 in severe, very strong, or strong. 1,000 people in moderate shaking area. 13,000 people estimated in light shaking area. So not a very populated area where this hit. Thank goodness. By the way, let me just shout out our moderators. Roberts May Queen is moderating right now. And Sarah55 and Beth Mythical and Janet B. all over there on YouTube moderating. Al Star, thank you. Also our Twitch moderators. Hold on a moment here. We have moderating on Twitch, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, Mick Britches, and Surly Dev, Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. And also we have our Facebook mods I want to thank. You can also see they say here, estimated fatalities, most likely between 0 and 1. Estimated economic losses at the lowest level, most likely between 0 and $1 million. So it does not look like a particularly damaging earthquake, thank goodness. Thanks Margaret Riley, who's moderating over on Facebook. Thanks also Kay Lowry Body. Thanks Christy Claff for subscribing. Christy says a 7.0 earthquake doesn't care about borders. It's going to be felt on both sides. And also, the Alaska mentioned, I'm going to tell you about aftershocks. We'll talk about that in a second too. Thanks the Alaska and also Sean the producer and Debbie James. And I am Charlie. Thank you. Okay, so let me show you here, latest earthquakes. You now have a number of aftershocks, it looks like, on the USGS page. So this actual earthquake happened at, can I get this? At the 7.0 happened at about 45 minutes ago, it looks like. 13:41. I believe that's local time. My time, local, not Alaska time. And then there's been a 5.0, a 4.7, a 5.3, a 3.5, and a 4.3. There's the location of the 7.0. Let's see here. And let me show you what EMSC is saying. That's an earthquake site too. Now, EMSC has it as a 6.8. EMSC has it as a 6.8. USGS has it as a 7.0. EMSC says it's technically in Canada. Again, sorry for the confusion. The email I originally got from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said it was a 7.0 in southeastern Alaska. But it looks now like it might have been just across the border in Canada. Now, EMSC will locate it, will give you the distance between like significantly sized cities. And according to them, it's 243 kilometers from Whitehorse, Canada, population 23,200. It's about 573 kilometers from Anchorage. Let's see. Location. Yeah, so they have it here on EMSC. They have it. It's kind of hard to see the border on this. Trying to find the border. I don't know if that's the border or latitude and longitude lines or not. I'll show you. The border is easier to see on the USGS map. How about interactive map? Oh, there. Here it is. Can I pull it up here? There. So EMSC has it to the north of the north, which would be the Canada side of the border, I believe. Intensity map. Shake map. Testimonies. Oh, some people wrote in. Some people wrote into EMSC. 30 minutes, this person says, shaking for approximately 30 seconds. This person was in Whitehorse, Canada, which I think is about, 150 miles away or something? Over 100 miles away, I believe. Whitehorse, Canada, shaking for approximately 30 seconds, chandelier swaying, felt in Tagish, Yukon. This person in Juneau, Alaska said, gentle. This person in Anchorage, which is about several hundred miles away, says, I'm in Anchorage and felt a very slight swing. My hanging plants swing in a couple good circles. Crazy, I'm 700 miles away. Well, they say they're 700 miles away. That's it. Well, it doesn't, 565 kilometers is more like 350 miles away. But anyways, hundreds of miles away. Anchorage, chair mildly trembled. Thought it might be a quake, except so mild, thought maybe not. Another person down at the bottom from Anchorage said a tiny, tiny, very minor shake that it was felt and hurt. I asked myself if we just had an earthquake. Nothing was noted to be moving. Again, Anchorage is actually about 400 miles away. Yeah, but this person in Whitehorse, which is about 200 miles away in Canada, said shaking for approximately 30 seconds, chandelier swaying, felt in Tagish, Yukon. This is from the site EMSC. EMSC. I'll post a link to this site if you're not familiar with it. I know a lot of you are familiar with USGS, but EMSC is another earthquake site. All right, let me take some more comments here. So again, we're going to cover live. In about a half an hour, President Trump is going to present medals, the Kennedy Center Honors Medals, in the Oval Office. So we're going to be covering that live. We're going to be talking about the drug boat strike controversy too. We were about to come on the air to cover that, and then this earthquake happened right as I was coming on the air. So decided to do some earthquake coverage. Let me just see what I can find. But again, from what the USGS is saying, they are saying they don't expect big damage or significant. Certainly, they expect between 0 and 1 deaths. Most there were not people, according to USGS, not a huge amount of people living where there would be significant shaking, which is good. And I'll throw that up there again. Let me see if they've revised their estimate here. Yeah, but there is the USGS estimate of how much population lives within the different degrees of shaking. And you see nobody listed above moderate shaking and 1,000 listed at moderate and 13,000 in light shaking. Hey, Maureen Green says, our Pacific Rim. Thanks, Maureen Green. She says, do you have water? How many days? Do it now. God bless. Thanks also, Carolyn, our new member. Let's see here. I want to take some more comments from you guys. Our viewer, one of our viewers, where'd it go? Maria says, wow, that's big. Oh, Evelyn says it would have been 11:41 a.m. local time. The Alaska time right now is, 12:36. So it would have been about an hour ago Alaska time. Let's see here. Yeah, no, this is a land. This occurred on land. For there to be a tsunami, there needs to be significant destruction to the water. For example, if there's an earthquake that's located on the ocean floor, and the ocean floor, there's a big shift in the ocean floor, that can push a lot of water and create a tsunami. But this is a land earthquake, and nothing has been done to create a big enough shift of land next to water to disrupt the water. So pretty soon after this happened, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said no tsunami threat from this earthquake. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. One of our viewers, I was going to look at that. One of our viewers mentioned the Did You Feel It page. Let me see what people are reporting over there. Thanks for reminding me. I mean, you look here. Did you feel it? Why is the... Yeah, so this map here, you are seeing some reports of shaking, but they're low level. 4-ish level shaking is I believe light shaking, if I have that right. 4 is light blue. 4 is light shaking. So all those squares are people reporting who have reported shaking to the USGS. But I don't even see any squares that are not light blue. You know, if people lived closer, if a lot of people lived closer to where that happened, to where the epicenter, you would be seeing squares, orange or dark orange or yellow, maybe even red, I don't know. But right now, those shake reports, they're coming, most of them from a distance away, significant distance away. Whitehorse, for example, is about 200 miles away here. That's about 200 miles away, to give you a sense of distance. But you're not really seeing reports from any of the squares inside the area where they expect the stronger shaking. And then aftershocks, yeah, we talked about that earlier. Let me just go over again. So according to EMSC, there's been a 5.0 aftershock, a 5.2, a 4.3. I think actually USGS had more than that. USGS has a 4.3, a 3.5. Well, I don't know if the 3.5 is the same. Oh yeah, that just happened. Close. 4.3. Sorry. 7.05. 705047 5147 3543. All these. Now, actually, some of the aftershocks technically look like the epicenter is on the Alaska side of the border. It's quite close to the border. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the scale. I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of hard for you to see, but if I do it this way, maybe you can see it this way. Yeah, look down at the bottom. Look down at the bottom. See the scale there? That's 10 miles. That's 10 miles right there. So that earthquake, it looks like if it's technically on the Canada side of the border, but within a few miles, the 7.0 within a few miles of the Alaska side. So it's quite close. Thanks, Nick. Nick, I don't have any live feeds myself available. I wouldn't expect to be seeing much at this point on a live feed because, I'm not aware of any kind of huge damage. Although maybe if there was a camera in that remote area, we could see some natural damage or something. But I do not have any live feeds from Alaska at this point. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate your support. So anyways, 7.0, again, 7.0 earthquake in Alaska. And to repeat, I'm not aware of any kind of casualties at this point. I'm not aware of any kind of damage to human structures, although maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a human structure there or something. I'm not sure. You know what we should do? We should look on Google Maps and see in that area. We should go look at the area on Google Maps and just see. I mean, you can actually see on the satellite shot what's there. Here's the satellite from USGS. So I assume you'll see something. All right, yeah, so look. Oh, sorry, it's small. The red dot, that looks like it's about less than a mile from the border, by the way. That big red dot, which is the 7.0, it looks like it's less than a mile from the border, and it's on the Canada side. But I mean, just looking at the satellite shot, it looks like it's just in these mountains. It's kind of tough because there's a lot of snow on the ground there, but I'm not seeing a lot of signs of dense population in that area. Let's see. Oh, just 7 minutes ago, there was a 4.1 aftershock, they said. Hang on a moment here. All right, so hold on a second here. Badge Hostery says it's in a mountain range. All right, let me just see if they've updated any other news on this over there on the site, on the USGS site. Did they say anything about it? Also, the USGS said overall the population in this region resides in structures that are resistant to earthquake shaking, though vulnerable structures exist. The predominant vulnerable building types are unreinforced brick masonry and reinforced masonry construction. Yeah, and they haven't updated this. So again, 1,000 people in the moderate shaking region. I wonder what the biggest Alaska earthquakes are like this year. I don't know if I can get that. Our viewer Kevin Venture says, from Alaska, that area is not populated, middle of nowhere, thank God. There was a 7.3 that struck southeast of Sand Point on July 16th. But wasn't that a water? Was that a water earthquake on the water? How about on land? That I don't know. Actually, look at this. This is the list of earthquakes in 2025 from Wikipedia. Okay. There was an 8.8 in Russia in July. That's the only one above 8. And then there have been a total of about 15. They actually have it right here. See, it says Canada, Yukon, December 6, 7.0. So this would be tied for 13th biggest earthquake this year. And you can see a number of these are offshore earthquakes. Jermaine Morgan thinks this is nothing in Anchorage. All right, well, fine. I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but you're welcome to your opinion about it. All right, so let's see. So again, we were coming on the air to cover the boat strike controversy. And also in about 15 minutes, President Trump is doing an Oval Office ceremony to give out live Kennedy Center honors medals. So I think in a minute or two, by the way, our viewer Jubalskag said felt the earthquake in Juneau, Alaska. I think in a minute or two we're going to shift over our coverage, and we will cover that. Just see if I have anything else here. I gotta change the title back and everything. I got to do that. All right. Oh, you know what? I should have checked this as well. Thanks to Tyler Cooper for mentioning this. I was going to check with the Canadian authorities. The Emergency Info British Columbia reposted. They reposted the report that I told you about from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, which said no tsunami threat to British Columbia. Okay. And here, by the way, this is the Government of Canada site. 7.0, they have it as a 7.02, felt in Western Yukon Territory. Did you feel the earthquake? I don't know if they're using the same data as the USGS there. Oh yeah, so you can see here are some reports on the Canadian side. See this map here? Did you feel the earthquake? And they have some green reports, which are moderate shaking. Look at this. There are 3 green reports on the Canadian side here. Looks like maybe about 100, 150 miles from the epicenter. And then over here, they have some light and weak shaking reports in the Whitehorse area, which is about 200 miles away. That's the site from the Canadian site. Hazard calculator? Well, see anything there? Okay. Our viewer, Myrna Wheel, says, hopefully everything is fine. David says, I'm from Canada and I hope everyone in the USA and Canada are okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, by the way, this is something that happens fairly frequently. The Kilauea volcano is erupting too, but that's something that happens fairly frequently. That is episode 38 of the ongoing eruption is happening at Kilauea in Hawaii. Most episodes of this lava fountaining since December 23rd of last year have continued for around a day or less and have been separated by pauses in eruptive activity, generally at least several days, says the USGS. But maybe what I'll do is, while I'm switching... All right, I'm about to switch over. I have to switch over to the... we got to cover the Trump ceremony. We got to cover the medal ceremony. We need to cover the latest on the drug boat strikes. So I'm going to do that in a second. Meanwhile, I'll show you, while I'm switching that, I'm going to show you some footage of the current Kilauea eruption. This is via USGS. Live via, hold on a second here. Let me just... This is in Hawaii. let me just put this. This is Kilauea Volcano, Hawaii. And while I have that on the screen, I'm going to update the title of the broadcast because I got to put everything back the way it was. So hang tight for a moment, and I'm going to say coming up, Trump presents Kennedy Center medals. Okay. So we're going to cover that. Okay. And hang on a moment. Give me a moment here. I got to fix everything. Made it complex with the I got to again change the title of the broadcast. All right, let me do that. Let me do that. Oh, by the way, let me do this too. So I'm changing the title of the broadcast. We do have a sponsor today. Our sponsor is Gold Safe Exchange. So let's just hear a quick word about our sponsor. Then we'll get back into all the coverage. And coming up in a few minutes, we're going to have Trump live in the Oval Office. But a quick word from our sponsor right now. You know, a number of people these days are investing in gold, silver, and other precious metals as a way of diversifying their portfolio. If you're interested in purchasing some precious metals, one way you can do that is with a precious metals IRA. This is an IRS-approved type of IRA in which your savings are invested into gold or other precious metals. If that kind of thing sounds interesting to you, if you want to know more, you can reach out to the folks at Gold Safe Exchange. They specialize in gold IRAs and other precious metals IRAs. Gold Safe Exchange puts a priority on customer service and transparency. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They have a price match guarantee. If you find a lower quote, they'll beat it. And they explain their processes in clear language so their clients know what's happening with their money. Also, they abide by all government security and safety standards. So if you're even a little interested in opening a gold IRA or other precious metals IRA, call Gold Safe Exchange at 800-341-6727 for a no-pressure chat. Or visit them on the web at goldsafeexchange.com/agenda-free. And mention Agenda-Free TV when you reach out to access a special offer where you could get free gold or silver with qualifying purchases. Okay, I have gotten done. The YouTube broadcast is updated. I have the title updated there. I should have it updated. Hold on. And I just have to update the title on the other ones as well. And we're going to get into our continuing coverage here. I'm showing you live. That's Kilauea Volcano in Hawaii via USGS. But we have some live coverage from the Oval Office coming up. We have going to talk about the latest developments in the boat strike controversy. So give me 2 seconds here. I need to, again, just update the title because we had to change things when that earthquake happened. All right, hold on. I'm doing that right now. Always makes it a little, we always have to delay a little bit when I have to switch the broadcast topic. Okay, we're going over to Twitch. I'm updating that title right now on Twitch. The Twitch title is updated. Great. And I have to update Facebook if I can do that. Let's see if I can update the Facebook title. Sometimes it's hard to do that. I got to get ready. Hold on. I also got to get ready to show the White House. Give me a moment. Oops, sorry, you're hearing 2 seconds of sound. Okay, can I fix the Facebook broadcast. Let's see here. Can I edit it? Here we go. Okay, I think what I might do is Facebook makes everything difficult. Can I edit the post? Oh, there it is. Hold on, I'm just editing the Facebook post. What a pain. Okay, there's the title. I think I did it. I'll actually give you some facts about this. I'm going to give you some facts. I changed the Facebook title, by the way. We're good there. And the last thing I got to do is I got to let the people know I got to let our X folks know, our followers on X, that we are transitioning the stream back to covering the boat strikes controversy and live coverage of President Trump's awarding Kennedy Center Honors medals. Okay. Fair enough. I'm posting that on our X account. Done. Whew. Okay, I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go, everybody. Regarding the, by the way, real quick, regarding the, let me just give you a little background about the volcano live shot you're looking at. So, oh, by the way, I will say that the Hawaii County Civil Defense said Kilauea began erupting. It's a pretty regular thing lately for it to erupt. It began erupting at 8:45 Hawaii time. Elevated gas levels and tephra, fine glass particles that may irritate the skin and eyes, are present in the area and downwind of the eruption. Avoid the area if you have sensitivities or other respiratory conditions on roadways, but beware of tephra, which may reduce visibility and create traffic congestion. Take necessary precautions to limit your exposure. You will be informed should conditions change. And then the USGS volcano service, I think it is, VNS, released a volcanic activity notice about this, the Volcano Notification Service. And they said a little earlier today, this is episode 38 of the ongoing Halima-Uma'u eruption. Lava fountains went 50 to 100 feet in height, are currently erupting from the north vent. And that was, this message is from about 4 hours ago. So I don't know what the height is right now. It said heights are increasing rapidly. So I don't know. Past episodes have had lava fountains over 1,000 feet high that produce eruptive flumes up to 20,000 feet above ground level. Okay, they say that the split nature of the north vent suggests this episode may produce lower fountains similar to episode 37 when the same two vents existed in the north cone. All eruptive activity is confined to the crater. Commercial airports in Hawaii County will not be affected by this activity. Again, all eruptive activity is confined to the Halima-Uma'u crater. Most episodes of this lava fountaining here have continued for around a day or since December of 2024. have continued for around a day or less and have been separated by pauses in eruptive activity lasting generally at least several days. So there has been periodic eruptive activity at this location since December of last year. USGS says eruptive activity at the summit of Kilauea within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park has been intermittent since an eruption began on December 23rd, 2024. No relation to the earthquake in Alaska. Well, the earthquake ended up being, I think, just across the Alaska-Canada border in Canada, technically. Oh, hold on a second. We're waiting for the Trump. All right, so let me turn off the clock. Let me turn off the clock, the clock there, the countdown clock, because we don't have to count down anymore. So any moment now, President Trump is going to do a ceremony in the Oval Office where he awards the Kennedy Center Honors Medals. And tomorrow night is actually like the big presentation, the annual Kennedy Center Honors presentation at the Kennedy Center, which I think he's hosting. And so it's going to be broadcast, I believe, on TV like a couple weeks later, but I think there might be a live stream of it tomorrow night. So if he's hosting and there's a live stream, we'll cover that. But he's going to do this presentation any moment now, and as soon as I have video, I'll give it to you. And we're supposed to have video of it in the Oval Office of these medals. Hang on, let me just get set up here because I have two different feeds I can show you of this today. So at least two, maybe three, but I want to just get them on the screen so I can be ready here. Give me one moment, guys. I'm just getting set up to show you the video. Any moment now, that is coming up. We will have that for you. Okay, hold on here. Okay. Oh, I got to change this. I got to change this thing. We already talked about the Alaska earthquake on the border there. Hold on. I have the updated graphic. Okay. Now, let me show you, so as we wait for this medals ceremony, and then after that we'll talk more about the drug boat strikes. But as we wait for this to start, what I'm going to do is show you something about this ceremony coming up today. Here it is right here, I think. Hold on. Look, guys, look at this. This is what we're waiting for right now. Any moment now, I'll have video. Ooh, that's not it. Hold on. Trump will award medals to the Kennedy Center honorees in an Oval Office ceremony any moment now. President Trump on Saturday will be presenting medals to the 2025 Kennedy Center honorees during an event in the Oval Office, says AP. This year's recipients are actors Sylvester Stallone, singers Gloria Gaynor and George Strait, the rock band Kiss, and actor-singer Michael Crawford. Are they all going to be there? Trump ignored the Kennedy Center and its premier awards program during his first term as president, but the Republican instituted a series of changes since his return to office in January, most notably ousting its board of trustees and replacing them with GOP supporters who voted him as chairman. Trump has also criticized the center's programming and its physical appearance and vowed to overhaul both. The president will present a new medal today that was designed, created, and donated by jeweler Tiffany & Company, according to the Kennedy Center. It's a gold disc etched on one side with the Kennedy Center's image in rainbow colors. The honoree's name appears on the reverse side with the date of the ceremony. The medallion hangs from a navy blue ribbon and replaces a large rainbow ribbon decorated with 3 gold plates that rested on the honoree's shoulders and chest. The president said in August he was about 98% involved in choosing the 2025 honorees when he personally announced them at the Kennedy Center. The first slate chosen under his leadership, the honorees traditionally had been announced by press release. It was unclear how this year's honorees were chosen before Trump. Fell to a bipartisan selection committee. And then, so after the Oval Office event, President Trump is scheduled to attend an annual State Department dinner for the honorees. In the past, the honorees would receive their medallions at the dinner, but Trump has moved the ceremony to the White House. We're going to see that at any moment. I'll have live video for you. And also, meanwhile, the glitzy Kennedy Center Honors Program and its series of tribute performances for each recipient is set to be taped tomorrow at the Performing Arts Center for broadcast in December on later in December on CBS and Paramount Plus. Now, I thought Trump was hosting. Oh, okay, right. Trump is to attend the program for the first time as president tomorrow night, accompanied by his wife, First Lady Melania Trump. The president said in August he would host the show, but the White House has not characterized his level of participation. So I guess we don't know if he's hosting it tomorrow night. Presidents traditionally attend the program and sit in with the honorees in the audience. None has ever served as host. President Trump, I guess this is, did he say this in August? He said, I've been asked to host. I said, I'm the president of the United States. Are you fools asking me to do that? He said back in August. And then Susie Wiles said to me, sir, I'd like you to host. I said, okay, Susie, I'll do it. And then yesterday, Trump was at the Kennedy Center for several hours, participating in the FIFA World Cup draw for 2026 and accepted its inaugural FIFA, the FIFA Peace Prize or the World Cup Peace Prize? I forget what it was called. Trump also met in a group with leaders of Canada and Mexico yesterday. Okay, so we are waiting. There's Gene Simmons. That's in December of 25, Gene Simmons of KISS at speaking to members of the media at the White House. That was, I didn't catch that. That was yesterday. I didn't see him there yesterday. There's him. Yeah, that's Gene Simmons of KISS yesterday at the White House. Again, any moment now, we are going to see President Trump in the Oval Office presenting medals. I assume Sylvester Stallone, Gloria Gaynor, George Strait, the rock band KISS, and Michael Crawford will be there. And then after this ceremony, we're going to talk about the controversy over the latest on the drug boat strikes controversy. Okay? The President Trump award ceremony in the Oval Office was scheduled to start 7 minutes ago, but it has not started yet. Okay, so again, thanks for bearing with me. When we came on the air, we had to change a bit to cover that 7.0 earthquake on the Canada-Alaska border. Oh, hold on a moment. The pool is gathering. Breaking update. LA Times correspondent, Washington White House pool reporter Anna Ceballos says the pool is gathering for the Oval Office event. So any moment now, Reuters thinks they're going to get their video in 7 minutes. I have several streams. Is the White House live yet? No, the White House isn't live yet. So I'll wait for the White House to go live too. But I am looking at 3 different sources to get you that live video. Let me say a quick thanks to Ruth. Thanks for the memberships, Ruth. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Pops, our member. Thanks, Kate Rose, our member. Thanks, Ken O'Reilly, our member. Janet B., thanks for the membership. That's so nice of you. Thanks, Jerry Kovacs, for your support and shouting out the mods. Thank you, Jerry Kovacs. Hey, thanks so much, Janet B., our moderator, for your support as well. That's really nice of you. Thanks, Low Key Valkyrie, our member. And let's see here. Hold on a moment here. Thanks to Spent Primer for subscribing on Twitch, Recovering Too Slow for subscribing on Twitch, The Sugaro for subscribing on Twitch, E-Biker for subscribing on Twitch, Ma Florida 22 for subscribing on Twitch, and Douthis for subscribing on Twitch, who says a lot has happened in the last year and a half. Thanks for being a 16-month subscriber, Douthis. Thanks, Mooney, for the bits on Twitch, and UXO Guy for subscribing on Twitch. None of my cameras are live yet, guys. Any moment now, really, any moment, President Trump in the Oval Office. And I originally planned to talk about the drug boat strike controversy before the Oval Office, but we ended up having to cover the earthquake. So now we're going to cover the drug boat stuff after the President Trump ceremony. You know, again, if President Trump is hosting tomorrow night and there's a live stream, I'll cover it. I don't know that I want to cover a live stream of President Trump just sitting in his box at the Kennedy Center. But certainly, if he ends up hosting tomorrow night and I have live footage of it, we'll cover that. Thanks to 86 GOP Forever, who gave 20 people memberships. That's so nice of you. Please make sure you thank 86 GOP Forever or someone else if they give you a gift membership or a gift subscription. Thanks also, Confidence in God, for your support, and Gemini Rose, our member. Let's see here. Does Reuters have anything else about the Kennedy Center here? Hold on a moment. They might have something too about this. Any moment now, we will have live footage from the Oval Office for you. Any moment now. It was supposed to start at 5. It's now 5:11. I know the White House pool is gathering for this. Let's see here. Let me take some more comments from you guys. Let's see. Again, this year's recipients of the Kennedy Center honors are Sylvester Stallone, singers Gloria Gaynor and George Strait, the rock band Kiss, and actor-singer Michael Crawford. Who won last year? Let me look that up. So Wikipedia says they are annual honors given to those in the performing arts for their lifetime of contributions to American culture. They have been presented annually since 1978, culminating each December in a gala celebrating 5 honorees in the Kennedy Center Opera House in Washington, D.C. So recipients. Last year it was Francis Ford Coppola, Grateful Dead, Bonnie Raitt, Arturo Sandoval, and the Apollo Theater. In 2023, it was Billy Crystal, Renee Fleming, Barry Gibb, Queen Latifah, and Dionne Warwick. President Trump, again, was not really involved, from what AP says, in this in his first term, but he's gotten very involved in his second term. We are just waiting for it to start. I'm going to say any moment. The Fox News says it's soon, but really should be any moment. One of our viewers said, Gemini Rose says they should honor Ozzy Osbourne posthumously. Oh, something else I should point out is with these ceremonies, you know, when President Trump does Oval Office events, he can sometimes, pretty regularly, he takes questions. Sometimes it turns into like an impromptu press conference. So I would not be surprised if he takes questions. He might even comment on the boat strikes or other big issues of the day. So that's another reason to keep an eye on this ceremony. Hey, thanks Scott Johnston for being a member. And I want to shout out our moderators real quick again. I really appreciate them being here for our live coverage. We have Beth Mythical, Janet B, Ruth over there on YouTube right now covering. Thank you. And we have also on Twitch, LB Prairie Dawn, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, Mick Bridges, and Surly Dev. Thank you so much. Kay Lowry Body and Margaret Riley on Facebook. One of our viewers said, no Kid Rock? I don't know if Kid Rock has ever gotten a Kennedy Center honor. Maybe he'll get it next year, if not. Thanks Sharon Klassen Gosselin for being a subscriber, and Christy Claft over there on Facebook. Linda Belg, Larry, and Misha, thanks for moderating on X. Has Kid Rock ever gotten one? Let me just do a quick check here. I do not see Kid Rock on the list of previous winners. Zazua was wondering why not Robin and Maurice too. Robin and Maurice Gibb are both sadly deceased. So that might be my guess as to why Barry Gibb got it. Was it last year or the year before, but not his brothers? I don't know that I even saw that presentation, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he mentioned his brothers. There's a very good documentary about Barry Gibb and the Bee Gees that came out, I want to say a couple years ago, where Barry Gibb talks about how much he misses his brothers. And I can't remember if it was on HBO. I don't know what it was. But if you have any interest, you should try to check it out because it's very well done. Manic Mation thinks Rob Schneider will get it next year. I am looking at 3 different sources, waiting for the video from the Oval Office. As soon as I have it, I will. Oh, the White House feed is live. The White House feed is live, just so you know. So hold on a second. Let me just get ready for that. I will certainly get you the best shot of it I can of all the feeds. Hey, look, we will begin shortly. We will begin shortly. Oh my gosh, guys. President Trump participates in a Kennedy Center Honors Medal presentation. Doc Savage, we covered for about the first 30 to 45 minutes of the stream, we were actually covering the 7.0 earthquake that hit near the Alaska-Canada border. Pretty sparsely populated area. According to the USGS, they basically said, they estimated that roughly no one lives in the area that had more than moderate shaking, because pretty remotely populated area. So hopefully it turns out, they did not estimate, they had it on the lowest level of estimated damage and fatalities. Estimated fatalities between 0 and 1, which is their lowest level. So I'm hoping there was not significant damage to any kind of human stuff from that. Although there could have been, I don't know. But I'm not hearing about widespread damage or injuries from that earthquake, so hopefully that continues. But certainly it's possible that somebody had damage somewhere, because some people certainly reported shaking. But I will keep an eye out for more reports about that. I have not been checking every source in Alaska, so I don't know. But hopefully everybody's okay there. And Canada, by the way, and Canada, because it happened right near the border. All right. Is Danny James, I think, is moderating too. Thanks, Danny. So you can see we're just waiting any moment now for this White House ceremony in the Oval Office. And we will have that live for you at any moment. And we'll take your comments after. Ooh, I just saw an update here. There was another stabbing on the Charlotte light rail yesterday. Sorry. That happens months earlier. A 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee was fatally stabbed on the Charlotte light rail. According to Bill Malugin of Fox News, he says the suspect accused of stabbing a man on the Charlotte light rail yesterday is a twice previously deported Honduran illegal alien with a lengthy criminal history in the U.S. I just reposted that report from Bill Malugin. He was deported a second time by the Biden administration. The Biden administration deported him. And he illegally re-entered the U.S. at an unknown time and location as a gotaway. Anyways, I just reposted that report from Bill Malugin of Fox News. I didn't know this. The got away is somebody who, a got away is someone who, they illegally cross the border but successfully evade capture. House.gov says a got away, I haven't heard this term before, is an unlawful border crosser who is directly or indirectly observed making an unlawful entry to the United States, is not apprehended, and is not turned back. A got away. Sorry for the delay. All I can say is any moment. This is supposed to start from the Oval Office. After that, we will talk about the latest in the drug boat strike controversy. Margot Martin just posted a photo from the Oval Office. Look, Margot Martin with the White House, I believe. She just posted of George Strait shaking Trump's hand, and Trump is wearing a tuxedo. That must be from now, I would think. So that's from 6 minutes ago, that post. So is Trump going to be in a tuxedo in the Oval Office? Is that what's happening? So that was just posted. That was just posted by Margot Martin. So I assume that's what it looks like. I assume it was taken a few minutes ago. If you're asking about the earthquake coverage, rewind. We covered it for about the first 30 to 40 minutes of this broadcast. Okay, so we're waiting for this to start. Any moment now, it is supposed to start. This ceremony. Hang on a moment here. Just checking for any updates. Haley Britsky with CNN reports that when Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson asked Secretary Hegseth if the Department of Defense / Department of War would release the full video of the September 2nd boat strikes, he says, "We are reviewing it." Thanks for sending in your comments as well. The official start time for this was 5 p.m. It is now 5:24 p.m. Let me see if I could give you a little more background on the Kennedy Center honors while we're waiting for this. According to Wikipedia, they were created in 1978, the Kennedy Center honors. Actually, they were created in 1977. And they have been presented annually since 1978, culminating each December in a gala celebrating 5 honorees. The invitation-only weekend-long ceremony includes the Chairman's Luncheon, the State Department dinner, which I guess is tonight, White House reception, and the honors gala performances and supper. "255 people have been awarded the Kennedy Center honors as of last year." I see no updates from the White House press pool. They said they were gathering about half an hour ago at the Oval Office for this. Notable recipients, one of our viewers said. I mean, just going back over the list, I'm just going to, I'm going to just name some random people who've gotten it before. Billy Crystal, Grateful Dead, Francis Ford Coppola, singer A.B. Grant, Bette Midler, Lord Michaels, Debbie Allen, Joan Baez, Garth Brooks, Dick Van Dyke, Cher, Reba McEntire, the creators of Hamilton, Earth, Wind and Fire, Linda Ronstadt, Sesame Street, LL Cool J, Norman Lear, Lionel Richie, Seiji Ozawa, Rita Moreno, George Lucas, Carole King. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's starting right now. It's starting right now.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is a great evening. It's a great honor. And I'm delighted to welcome to the Oval Office. Great honor. World famous. And I'm delighted to welcome to the most powerful office in the world, our truly exceptional 2025 Kennedy Center honorees. As President of the United States and the Chairman of the Board of the Kennedy Center, it's a privilege to pay tribute to the very best in American arts and culture. And that's what you have beside me. They are incredible people. I know most of them, and I've been a fan of all of them. And it's been a real honor to get to know them during this little period of time. This is a group of icons whose work and accomplishments have inspired, uplifted, and unified millions and millions of Americans. This is perhaps the most accomplished and renowned class of Kennedy Center honorees ever assembled. We have country music legend George. Got it? Turned off. Got it? We have country music legend George Strait. George, thank you very much. Let me do this right now, George. I think if you want to leave it on, you can. I think we can get it through.
That's okay.
Oh, he's got good hair.
A little bit. I still got a little
I'm surprised. Sometimes I take it off and there's not a lot.
There's not a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We have a great star of Broadway. I've seen the show many times and other shows of his, Michael Crawford. Michael, thank you. Thank you, Michael. Let me do that. Very good. Thank you, Michael. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful. We have the disco queen, and she was indeed. And nobody did it like Gloria Gaynor. Gloria, thank you very much. Now that's a good head of hair. That's beautiful. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling. A friend of mine, a wonderful person, a spectacular person, one of the true great movie stars. There aren't many. There used to be a lot. There aren't many now. But he's one of the great legends and had some of the greatest movies ever, including the top grossing movies ever, Sylvester Sly Stallone. Sly. Thank you. Proud of you. This is great, Sly. It's an honor.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Should I
Thank
go
you.
over here? Thank
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Sly. And the members of the incredible rock band KISS, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley, who now is resting in peace, and his beautiful daughter is here to accept the award. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you. That's great.
Who would have guessed?
That's pretty good stuff, huh? Let me turn that around. Thank you. That's great. I can't. My friend for a long time.
Thank you, Mr.
That's good.
President.
Thank you very much. My friend for a long time. Okay, that's good.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
It's an honor.
And I think your father would be very happy to have you wear this, okay? Thank you very much. He's a great guy. Thank you very much. Those are great people. In a few moments, we will be presenting these stars with their Kennedy Center honors medallions, which were redesigned this year with the help of the fantastic team at Tiffany and Company, and I want to congratulate them. They have done a fantastic job. They're wonderful people. I know them very well because they're right next to Trump Tower. I've lived with them for many years, and they really have done a great job. So I want to thank Tiffany. Thank you very much. We're also joined by members of the Kennedy Center Board of Trustees who are doing a really great job. And as you know, the building is being renovated, fully renovated. It's being I would say fixed at a level that nobody's ever seen before. We're going to make it something really special. It's been tired. It's been mistreated, a little bit like the White House has been mistreated, to be honest with you. And we're bringing it back to a level that I don't think any place in the country will see. We were given quite a bit of money by Congress to do the job, and we're doing it right. And you'll see the new marble and the renovated marble and all of the different rooms, major auditoriums. The sound is so fantastic. One of the very big prerequisites, and something that doesn't happen often, is when you have great sound, you take advantage of it. And the Kennedy Center has great, great sound. If they build it, fellas, you know this. Gloria, you would know it very well. George, you'd know it very well. Oh, Michael would know it so well. But if it's built with bad sound, you never get it fixed, right? It just doesn't work. They've tried very hard at Lincoln Center and other places, and hasn't worked out too well. But I just want to thank the executive director, Rick Grinnell. Rick, thank you very much. Thank you, Rick. Ambassador Sergio Gore, ambassador to India. Thank you, Sergio. Great job. And other friends and distinguished guests, Mr. and Mrs. Ike Perlmutter. So many people are here that are great friends. Mrs. Fisher, thank you very much. Very much. We have some unbelievable people on the board, the most prestigious board, I think, now, maybe in Washington. From Newark, New Jersey to Poteet, Texas, from New York City to as far away as London. These are among the greatest artists, actors, and performers of their generation, the greatest that we've seen. We can hardly imagine the country music phenomena without its king of country, or the American disco without its first lady, or Broadway without its phantom. And that was a phantom, let me tell you. Or rock and roll without its hottest band in the world, and that's what they are. Or Hollywood without one of its greatest visionaries. Each of you has made an indelible mark on American life, and together you have defined entire genres and set new standards for the performing arts. You have set new standards. On behalf of every American who has been inspired by the unbelievable talent of Michael Crawford, who has been influenced by the music of George Strait, or Gloria Gaynor, or KISS, or who has been moved by Sylvester Stallone's unmatched heart and talent and grit, because nobody played that role, and nobody will ever play that role like Sly. We want to thank you all. We want to thank you all. Really tremendous. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to have a good time tonight. I look forward to celebrating with all of you at the Kennedy Center tomorrow. And it's going to be something that I believe, and I'm going to make a prediction, this will be the highest rated show that they've ever done. And they've gotten some pretty good ratings, but there's nothing like what's going to happen tomorrow night. So I just want to thank you all. I want to congratulate you all. And I want to thank the media. They've treated this with such great respect. We very much appreciate it. Now we're going to go to the State Department with Secretary of State Rubio and have a special event, something which was never done before, but we never had a president hosting the awards before. This is the first. I'm sure they'll give me great reviews, right? You know, they'll say, he was horrible. He was terrible. It was a horrible situation. No, we'll do fine. I've watched some of the people that host. Jimmy Kimmel was horrible. Some of these people, if I can't beat out Jimmy Kimmel in terms of talent, then I don't think I should be president. But I want to just thank you all, because this is a special night, and I think you're going to see that at the end of this evening, and by the end of these 2 days, you're going to say this is one of the most special days in your life, and I think a few of you have already told me it already was. So thank you all very much. Congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, media. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No questions. No questions in that ceremony. So there you go. He did say he was hosting tomorrow. He did say he was hosting. So I'm hoping to have tomorrow. So the big Kennedy Center award show is tomorrow night, and it's supposed to get broadcast later in December. I think by CBS and Paramount Plus, but I may have a live stream tomorrow night of it with him hosting. So if that's the case, I'll cover it. I'll have to see. I don't know if I'll have a live stream of that. We'll have to see. I just don't know. I'll look into it. Let me take some comments from you guys. What did he say about Rubio? They're having an event now at the State Department tonight. So he mentioned Secretary of State Rubio. I don't believe I have any video from the State Department event. Oh, hold on a second. No, I don't have video. The White House, I don't know if the White House might show some videos. So it's possible I will while we're on the air. We're going to talk about the boat strike controversy, because we haven't even gotten a chance to talk about that. So I want to talk about that in a second. Hold on a moment here. Yeah, I don't have video right now of him at the dinner tonight, which is supposed to be in like an hour and a half, I think. But anyways, if I get anything, I'll let you know. Gemini Rose says, if you watch past Kennedy Center shows, they are pretty good. Well, he says he's hosting. He said he's hosting. All right, let's move to, by the way, a quick thanks to, I want to say thanks so much as we move on to the boat controversy. Thanks to Mr. Ray Romantico for your support. Cool Buff Dad, Kira Kiwi, Zardoz, thanks for the membership. Christine Rizzo, thanks for being a member. Echo's Life, thanks for being a member. And Oxytropis, thanks for your support on Twitch. So let's talk about, we were going to talk about it earlier. We didn't get time because there was a 7.0 earthquake in Alaska. Well, it looks like it was technically in Canada on the Alaska-Canada border. As I mentioned before about that earthquake, really quick, just to mention it again, it was a 7.0 earthquake. It was in near southeastern Alaska, right across the border. Well, I'm really close to the border. I mean, maybe within a mile of the border, it looks like. Right next to the Canada-Alaska border, just north of it, so in the Canada side. I have not heard of any serious injuries or major damage caused. And according to the USGS, they said that 1,000 people were in the moderate shaking region and 13,000 in the light shaking region. Fortunately, not a very populated area where it hit. So we were covering that. So we didn't get a chance yet to cover the boat strike controversy, which I want to talk about right now. We're going to talk about that now. By the way, Billy's lie thinks none of those people were forced to be honored. So you're saying they came of their own free will. Let's see here. All right, so we're going to get into that other story right now. What I am going to do first is real quick. So this is a sponsored broadcast, and what we usually do in the sponsored broadcast is we hear about our sponsor a little bit at the start of the show, start of the broadcast, and then in the second half of the broadcast, we hear a little more about them or something again. So real quick, a quick word about our sponsor, and then we are going to get into the boat strike controversy. You know, a number of people these days are investing in gold, silver, and other precious metals as a way of diversifying their portfolio. If you're interested in purchasing some precious metals, one way you can do that is with a precious metals IRA. This is an IRS-approved type of IRA in which your savings are invested into gold or other precious metals. If that kind of thing sounds interesting to you, if you want to know more, you can reach out to the folks at Gold Safe Exchange. They specialize in gold IRAs and other precious metals IRAs. Gold Safe Exchange puts a priority on customer service and transparency. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They have a price match guarantee. If you find a lower quote, they'll beat it. And they explain their processes in clear language so their clients know what's happening with their money. Also, they abide by all government security and safety standards. So if you're even a little interested in opening a gold IRA or other precious metals IRA, call Gold Safe Exchange at 800-341-6727 for a no-pressure chat. Or visit them on the web at goldsafeexchange.com/agenda-free. And mention Agenda-Free TV when you reach out to access a special offer where you could get free gold or silver with qualifying purchases. All right, let's get updated on the boat strike controversy. So to remind you all of what we're talking about, this was the first U.S. boat strike on an alleged drug boat on September 2nd. In the Caribbean, this happened. About a week ago or so, the Washington Post and CNN had reported, I think the Washington Post was the first one to report, that a strike on the boat on September 2nd left 2 survivors. And then the Washington Post said a second strike was ordered to kill the survivors to comply with Secretary Hegseth's orders about what to do, to kill everybody on the boat. And then this week, some lawmakers saw the unedited video of the strike, and also the commander who oversaw the strike, Admiral Frank M. Bradley, met with some lawmakers during the last several days. So we want to talk about an update on this. It's not clear whether this video will be released to the public. Secretary Hegseth reportedly said today they are reviewing it. President Trump seemed open to doing it this week, but we don't know if that is going to happen. So, I'm sorry, and I have to update our headline because we already showed the award ceremony. Okay. Actually, I'll say this. Caribbean boat strike controversy continues. How's that? We'll do that. Okay. Now, I want to take some comments from you guys on this, but let's just get a little background here. This is a Washington Post article from yesterday, just to get caught up. They say that Democrats have stepped up their demands. Now, some Republicans are saying they want this to do more investigation on this as well. Democrats have stepped up their demands to expand the inquiries that are already underway in Congress into a U.S. military attack that killed 2 alleged drug smugglers who survived an initial strike on their boat. The push comes after a select group of lawmakers Thursday reviewed a video of the September 2nd operation in the Caribbean Sea and were briefed on Capitol Hill by Admiral Frank M. Bradley, the commander who oversaw it. So the commander who oversaw it briefed some lawmakers on Thursday. Democrats said they want a public hearing and access to documents related to the incident. I do not know if there will be a public hearing. Republicans who control the Senate and the House joined Democrats in seeking answers from the Defense Department after the Washington Post reported last week that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had given a verbal order before the strike to kill all of the boat's crew members. But as of Friday evening, Senator Roger Wicker, Republican of Mississippi, who chairs the Senate Armed Services Committee, and Representative Mike Rogers, Alabama, Republican, his counterpart in the House, have yet to signal how they will proceed. Republicans have neither ruled out nor committed to launching a fuller investigation. Spokesperson for Wicker and Rogers did not respond to requests for comment, and neither made any public statements after meeting with Bradley on Thursday. The silence has unnerved some Democrats who say Congress has a duty to perform rigorous oversight of the situation. September 2nd marked the start of a campaign that to date includes at least 22 strikes on boats in the waters off of Latin America and has killed at least 87 people. The Trump administration has said the strikes are necessary to stem the illegal flow of drugs into the United States, but those strikes have infuriated Democrats and some Republicans. I mean, Republican Rand Paul has questioned the strikes as well. Let's see here. You can see they've infuriated Democrats who've accused the administration of ignoring laws of war. The administration's decision to move the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier and other ships to the Caribbean have stoked fears that the administration is preparing to strike Venezuela. How about that? Are there going to be strikes on Venezuela? Don't forget about that. President Trump has accused Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, of leading a cartel sending drugs to the U.S. Let's see here. Senator Tom Cotton, Republican of Arkansas, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee and a member of the Armed Services Committee, said after his meeting with Admiral Bradley, he did not see a need for further investigation. But Cotton said he did not object to the Pentagon releasing the full video of the strike, as some Democrats have demanded. The Pentagon is in touch with the White House about whether to release the video, according to a senior administration official. Now, this is interesting, too. The Senate Armed Services Committee has taken at least one step that could shed more light on the administration's activities. The committee has asked Admiral Alvin Halsey, for now the U.S. military's top officer overseeing operations in Central and South America, to testify before the committee next week. Halsey is leaving his assignment well ahead of schedule. He said he's resigning, which has fueled speculation that the admiral was at odds with Secretary Hegseth over the administration's approach to combating drug trafficking. So we do not know if Admiral Halsey will be testifying before the Senate Armed Services Committee publicly next week. I'll certainly cover that if it happens. I want to ask a poll question here. The poll question is, will the video of the strikes, will the full video of the 9/2 boat strikes be released? Will full video of 9/2 boat strikes be released? That's my poll question right now, which I will ask. I can't ask on Facebook because they haven't fixed the polls yet, but I'll put it on YouTube and Twitch. X doesn't really have a way for me to do that seamlessly, unfortunately. So sorry, X viewers as well. Let's see what you guys have to say. Are we going to end up seeing this video as members of the public? Victoria Estrida thinks they should absolutely not release the video. All right, let me see what you guys said. Will the full video be released? Over there on YouTube, we have 60% say no and 40% say yes. G. Forial thinks there's no benefit for public consumption. Steve, the book guy, says, I do not think it will be released, but it should be. Let's see what Twitch has to say. "77% on Twitch say no, 23% say yes. Markey says released or leak. Could someone leak it? I mean, that would be a huge deal if somebody leaked it. It might be a criminal thing if somebody leaked it. Mason D says doesn't need to be released. Marin Go Bra thinks it won't be released without an act of Congress. Our viewer Hasseldehoff says, you're never going to stop all drugs coming into the USA. It's impossible. John McAvoy says, does the video come with audio? None of the videos I've seen released so far come with audio, but I don't know. Dinner with Wally says, I don't think so. Video too inflammatory. I do believe I have some reporting about what some of the members of Congress said when they saw the video. So thank you for voting in our poll. Hang on a moment here. Let me show you something else about this. Taze Vim says, I care about due process. Here was an article with some feedback. This is from the Washington Post as well. This is from yesterday. Video shows second strike hit before survivors could flip boat, lawmakers say. Green Neck says you can't have due process in a war, whereas our viewer Jane Smith says, I do not believe a single word, video, or medical decision coming out of the Trump regime. Ben Walton says, I think they should not release the video and even stop answering questions about it. It's just whiny Democrats complaining. To be clear, it's not just Democrats complaining. For example, Republican Rand Paul. Douthis says it is literally not a war. Okay, video footage of a U.S. military strike on alleged drug smugglers in the Caribbean Sea shows two people attempting to flip their capsized vessel as they were attacked again. Multiple lawmakers said Thursday after speaking with the Navy admiral who oversaw the controversial mission. The recording of that second strike was shown during a day of closed-door meetings on Capitol Hill featuring Admiral Frank M. Bradley, the commander who oversaw the September 2nd operation, which entailed 4 strikes in all. The attack killed 11 people, including the 2 people who survived the first blast that hit their boat. By the way, there's no video publicly of the second strike. There is public video of the first strike. And I know we covered it, but you can see right here, Wikipedia in their article, United States strike on a Southern Caribbean boat September 2nd. If I make this like this, you can see the video released by the U.S. government of the first strike, which is right here. That's the first strike coming up. Right there. But we don't see the video of the second strike or anything after that. That's where the video that they released stopped. But just to be clear, and that attack killed 11 people overall, including the 2 people who survived the first blast that hit their boat. Democrats emerged from the meetings where they saw this video alarmed and vowed to press ahead with nascent congressional inquiries scrutinizing the attack's legality. Some Republicans who have been staunchly loyal to the Trump administration defended the operation, in some cases citing the same claims made by the president, who said the lethal campaign was necessary because the illicit drug trade is responsible for killing Americans. Jim Himes, the House Intelligence Committee's top Democrat, described the footage as one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. The 2 survivors, he said, were in clear distress as their boat was destroyed. Himes said the video we saw today showed 2 shipwrecked individuals who had no means to move, much less pose an immediate threat, and yet they were killed by the U.S. military. He made that in a joint statement with another Democrat, Representative Adam Smith of Washington. The statement said, regardless of what one believes about the legal underpinnings of these operations, and we have been clear, we believe they are highly questionable, this was wrong. Senator Tom Cotton, Republican of Arkansas, disputed the Democrats' account. He called the repeated strikes righteous and said he would have given the same orders if he had been in Bradley's position. He called the strikes lawful and needful and said they were exactly what we would expect our military commanders to do. Let's see here. So just to go over some background, that operation on 9/2, September 2nd, marked the start of the Trump administration's deadly military campaign against boats and semi-submersible vessels suspected to be ferrying drugs off the shores of Latin America. More than 20 vessels have been targeted and more than 80 people killed. The latest strike by the Defense Department was announced on Thursday. saying 4 people were killed in the Eastern Pacific. As with all of the other strikes, the disclosure included no evidence verifying that those on board the vessel were drug smugglers or that their cargo included illegal drugs. Democrats and experts on the law of war have called the killings illegal, arguing that criminal drug smugglers can't be treated the same way as enemy combatants waging war against the United States. And the footage shown to lawmakers for the first time on Thursday is considered a crucial piece of evidence in determining whether the September 2nd strike amounted to a war crime. Let's see. So Admiral Bradley, who was the one who was in charge overseeing the operation, the Washington Post reported last week that Bradley ordered a subsequent attack on the boat, a second strike after survivors were identified, to comply with Pete Hegseth's spoken directive issued before the initial strike of the operation to kill everybody on board. Bradley participated in at least 5 closed-door meetings on Thursday over about 8 hours with members of Congress, I believe. 2 people familiar with his discussion said the admiral confirmed that Hegseth had given... Now, this is interesting. 2 people familiar with Bradley's discussions on Capitol Hill on Thursday said the admiral confirmed that Hegseth had given a verbal order ahead of the operation to kill the passengers and destroy the boat. These people spoke in the condition of anonymity. That's an unconfirmed assertion about what the admiral said. But Himes, the House Intelligence Committee top Democrat, told reporters after his meeting with Bradley that the admiral had conveyed to him and Crawford, the committee chair, that there was no order from Hegseth to kill them all. Tom Cotton said the same after his meeting with Bradley. So unclear what exact orders from Hegseth Bradley was operating under. Also, according to Republican Senator Cotton and another person familiar with the briefing, Admiral Bradley considered the survivors to be viable targets. The 2 survivors, Tom Cotton, Republican senator, said the 2 survivors could have radioed for help from associates in the area and continued their mission of shipping drugs to American shores. Todd Hurley, a former military lawyer who advised special operations forces on the law of war for 7 years, said calling for help could indicate the men were still able to move drugs, but it doesn't make them combatants who pose a threat and can be killed. One lawmaker familiar with Thursday's briefings and the video that was shown said there was no boat, there was no wreckage, there was no radio. There were 2 guys clinging to a tiny, non-awash portion of the keel of the capsized boat. Military leaders told lawmakers they assessed their survivors might look for a radio. But it's hard to see how they could after the first strike, the person said. The boat was consumed by a massive conflagration, then it capsized. One former U.S. official said some uniformed personnel who watched the second strike as it happened or saw the briefing slides afterwards were disturbed by what they witnessed. Basically, it was, why are we killing people who are stranded and pose no threat, the former official said. Let me just read, I'm going to take some comments from you guys. It's an interesting article with some different interesting background here. Let me read a little more from the article, then I'll take some comments from you. Again, this is from the Washington Post. Much of the scrutiny and expert analysis have focused on Admiral Bradley's assessment that the survivors left after the first strike remained legitimate targets. U.S. and international law requires protection for combatants and others who cannot defend themselves and forbids further attacks. That includes persons who have been rendered unconscious or otherwise incapacitated by wound, sickness, or shipwreck, according to the Pentagon's Law of War Manual. The lawyer Huntley, who also is a... Huntley is, what did it say here? that he is a former military lawyer who advised Special Operations Forces for 7 years on the law of war. Huntley said, "It is hard to see any argument that the follow-up strike was lawful unless one accepts a series of premises. That the U.S. is in a war with drug traffickers, which a broad array of legal analysts dispute. That the two survivors were on board a seaworthy vessel, and also that they were not at risk of drowning. Also that the drugs and the boat itself were military objects. You have to fulfill several variables," Huntley said. "It's a pretty strained argument." All right, what do you guys think about this? So it's still unclear what the nature is of how the investigations will go. Two committees in Congress already, one Senate and one House, have released bipartisan statements saying they will be investigating this further. But what the nature, they released that before the meetings on Thursday. So it's unclear where the congressional investigation into all of this might go. Also, as I said, we don't know if the video from this incident is going to be released to the public. So let's take some comments from you guys. Let's see here. ZSSCX says Democrats defending drug dealers is crazy. John Shepard says the Nazis used to kill shipwreck survivors, so you're now Nazis, America. Daniel says they'll just let them drown next time. Stumpy Stump thinks all the boat strikes are murder. Pretty Boy Floyd says traffickers, terrorists, whatever you want to call them, the military is taking care of them quick-like. Toot says we have been in a drug war for like 60 years. Let's see here. Hasseldehoff thinks it's not okay when anyone does it. Cold Doge thinks a floating damaged boat is a legitimate military target. Jane Smith says, how many people are actually hearing the initial order? Yeah, there's still unclarity about what the actual order from Secretary Hegseth was and who heard it. By the way, thanks to Ed Wiebe for the gift membership. Tyler Martin, thanks for your support too. Tyler Martin says Admiral Halsey steps down, Admiral Bradley steps up. Tyler Martin also says it's hard to imagine the boats we've seen thus far being serviceable after an airstrike. Any survivors from initial blast would be seemingly helpless. Thanks, Tyler Martin. And we can see the first strike on that boat. Thanks again, Ed Wiebe, for the memberships. Did I thank Kira Kiwi for being a member, and Confidence in God for your support, and Rock Evan for your support? Thank you. Yeah, again, we can see the actual first strike. That was released by the government. With the first strike was, this is it from September 2nd. You can see on the Wikipedia page, but this is the strike. So you don't get to see in detail what the boat looks like after, but you get to see the initial explosion. But we haven't, the rest of the video has not been made public. All right, hold on a moment here. Hey, thanks to Dude Control. Hey, Dude Control gave 5 people gift subs on Twitch. That's so nice of you, Dude Control. Make sure you thank Dude Control if you got a gift sub from Dude Control. Also, Toot, thanks for the bits. Toot for the bits. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. I want to give you some more information about this. Pete Hegseth spoke about this. I wonder if I have the video of Pete Hegseth speaking today, but I don't know where he said it. I'm going to show. I would have to scroll through the video. Pete Hegseth made an appearance today at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. Look, I just saw this. Hegseth defends strikes on alleged cartel boats. I don't know if he spoke specifically about the 9/2 strike, and says Trump can order use of force as he sees fit. So let's see what he had to say. Let's see here. Ed Wiebe says, how on earth can anything survive that strike? The Watcher says it's sad to see what has become of the USA. Juliana Martin says, I hope someone subpoenas the video. Defense Secretary Hegseth, reports AP, defended strikes on alleged drug cartel boats during remarks today at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, saying President Trump has the power to take military action as he sees fit to defend the nation. Hegseth dismissed criticism of the strikes, which have killed more than 80 people, and now face intense scrutiny over concerns they violated international law. Saying the strikes are justified to protect Americans, Hegseth likened the fight to the war on terror following the September 11, 2001 attacks. Hegseth said today, if you're working for a designated terrorist organization and you bring drugs to this country in a boat, we will find you and we will sink you. Let there be no doubt about it. President Trump can and will take decisive military action as he sees fit to defend our nation's interests. Let no country on earth doubt that for a moment. Though Hegseth compared the alleged drug smugglers to al-Qaeda terrorists, experts have noted significant differences between the two foes and the efforts to combat them, said AP. Hold on a moment. I also want to show you something else here. There is a picture right there from AP on the right. That is Admiral Frank Bradley right here, the man who reportedly was overseeing the operation on September 2nd that took out that boat. That's Admiral Frank Bradley, who was meeting with members of Congress on Capitol Hill on Thursday. AP says the U.S. military opened fire on 2 people clinging to the wreckage of a boat allegedly carrying drugs. Congressional lawmakers learned this week as they seek more answers about the attack and the legal underpinnings of President Trump's military campaign in international waters near Venezuela. Lawmakers who oversee national security committees heard this past week from the Navy admiral who ordered the initial strikes, including the follow-up strike that killed the 2 survivors. While Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley stated clearly that Defense Secretary Hegseth did not issue a kill-them-all order on the survivors, Democratic lawmakers say the scope of the mission was clear to destroy the drugs and kill all the 11 people on board. So I don't know I don't know if Admiral Frank Bradley said there was never an order to kill the survivors, or did he say, well, there wasn't an order to kill the remaining 2 survivors, but maybe there was an order to kill everybody on board from the beginning. I don't know. I don't have his testimony or what he said to the lawmakers. Late Friday, the AP confirmed that this is interesting. This also came out. Late Friday, last night, the AP confirmed that lawmakers were told that this drug boat on September 2nd, this alleged drug boat, was headed to link up with another vessel bound for Suriname, according to a person familiar with the situation. Another person said the boat was heading south when it was struck, which would not be headed towards the U.S. And if you're wondering, I hope I pronounced Suriname right. I really hope I did. I might not have. I got to look it up. Maybe people are yelling at me in the chat about it. Suriname, not Nam. I'm seeing Suriname. That's what I'm seeing. Hold on a second here. Suriname is a country in northern South America. So again, I believe some other outlets are reporting this too. And just to show you where this is, Suriname is to the east of Venezuela. You can see that on Google Maps there. See, it says Suriname right there. And the boat was struck in the Caribbean, which is here. So again, AP reported that they learned that lawmakers were told the alleged drug boat was headed to link up with another vessel bound for Suriname. Now, I don't know, maybe the cargo of the vessels was going somewhere after that. Okay, I'll take some more comments in a second. Let me just show you this though. What lawmakers have learned. Admiral Bradley, who again was the one overseeing the operation in the moment, told lawmakers he ordered a second strike on the wreckage of a boat that was carrying cocaine because it was believed that bales of the drug were still in the hull of the boat, according to a person with knowledge of the briefing. For several minutes, two people, shirtless and at one point waving, had climbed on the piece of the boat that was still floating. They were drifting in the water until the missiles come and kill them, said Adam Smith, the ranking Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, adding their slaying was deeply concerning. Tom Cotton, the Republican chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said he believed the video shows the two people trying to flip over the piece of the boat. For him, that was enough of an indication that the survivors were trying to stay in the fight and were therefore still justifiable targets. Bradley, the admiral who was overseeing the operation, told the lawmakers that the rationale for the second strike was to ensure that the cocaine in the boat could not be picked up by later cartel members. Lawmakers previously had been told the second strike was ordered to sink the boat. Now, again, the original report on this from the Post said that the second strike of 4 strikes on the boat was to kill the survivors. So, again, a lot of this is unclear right now, what actually happened. The rationale to sink the boat grows out of the legal opinion that the Department of Defense is using as its entire basis for its military operation against the drug cartels, especially because Congress has not explicitly authorized the Trump administration to do this. Under the Trump administration's legal opinion, drugs and drug smugglers en route to the U.S. are essentially viewed as terrorist threats and can be targeted with the same rules that apply to the global war on terror. However, I've read some that says that even designated terrorists cannot be blown up if they're not actively threatening with armed force the country. So there's a whole question about that. Michael Schmidt, a former armed forces lawyer and professor emeritus at the U.S. Naval War College, said, "The people in the boat, as a matter of the law of armed conflict, are not fighters. All they are is transporting drugs." Okay, let's see here. Lawmakers want to know under what orders and instructions the operation was conducted. Okay. Bradley told lawmakers the orders did not contain a directive to kill all the boat occupants. As we mentioned, the Armed Services Committee want to hear from Navy Admiral Alvin Halsey, who is retiring as commander of the U.S. forces in Central and South America. Hegseth announced last month that Halsey would be retiring early. Also, lawmakers want to find out why Hegseth was not in the operation room when the second strike was carried out. He has said he stepped out for other business after the first strike. We should show you what Hegseth said during Trump's cabinet meeting about this. Maybe we'll show you that. I'd like to also clarify that point about the legal rationale for doing this. So look, in the Washington Post, this article here from yesterday, who is Admiral Frank Bradley, you can see here it says, the Trump administration has argued that the U.S. is in an armed conflict with designated terrorist organizations and maintains that the strikes are legal under international law. However, some officials and experts say the alleged traffickers are not in an armed conflict with the United States and pose no threat of an attack. Furthermore, legal experts have said defenseless people, particularly at sea, cannot be targeted regardless of whether it is during an armed conflict, law enforcement, or other operations. So it's important to keep in mind there's this question of whether it violates international law to target these two people who allegedly survived the first strike. That's one question. But some people, regardless of that, think all of the strikes on the boats are illegal, all of these lethal strikes, because they say that, roughly, this is more complex, but as you can see, a summary here, one way to argue that would be saying, well, the Trump administration is justifying that by claiming that the U.S. is in an armed conflict with these drug boats. And these people would say, that's not the case. We're not in an armed conflict with the people on the drug boats and the drug boats. So that's not a satisfactory justification legally. But again, there's two. It's the issue of whether the strike violates international law and is a war crime on the two survivors is a different question than whether all of the more lethal strikes on the alleged drug boats violate international law or not. Two different issues. So it can be easy to get those mixed up. So keep that in mind. Owens thinks they are all legal since USA has declared war against the cartel. Well, then there's this question of, can the U.S. just declare war or armed conflict against anyone they want, no matter the facts on the ground? Right? So it sounds like your view is that, well, if they declare war, it's war. But some people might say, well, no, it's only legitimate if they declare war if there's actually facts on the ground justifying such a declaration. But hopefully you at least understand some of the debate. I'm not telling you what to think, but you're seeing some of the questions that are swirling around in this debate. Nisto thinks can't declare war without Congress. Terminator Pig says we don't know their cartel. Look, a whole other aspect of this, a whole other issue. Some of our people in our chat are asking about this. But some people say, well, we don't even have evidence that these people are even doing what the administration alleges they did. Is everybody on these boats a drug trafficker? Are there drugs on all these boats? And that's still another issue, right? Some people might, whether you think the strikes, you might think, okay, I believe they are really drug dealers and really have drugs on the boat, but I still don't think they are justified. Or you might think that the thing that really bothers you about this whole thing might be the lack of evidence about what's actually on the boat and who's actually on the boat. But these are, all I'm saying is these are different questions and different issues. So it's easy to mix them all up. But I think it's helpful to try to just keep a focus on the different questions and how they're different and the different issues. And then a whole other issue is whether the U.S. will carry out military operations in Venezuela and use that as a justification for that, claim that it's an anti-drug operation, claiming that Maduro is the head of a cartel. And then there's the question of if they do that, is that the real reason the U.S. would be doing it, or is it just a fake reason? So there's all these different issues and questions. Whew, there's a lot to this whole story. Let me take some comments from you guys. Then I'm going to show you what Pete Hegseth said about this during the, which I know a number of you have seen, during this past week, the cabinet meeting. But I got to take some comments from you guys. Candace Weaver says there is no way that those particular boats would make it to U.S. soil. CRT thinks there are way too many questions about it for an administration that says they are transparent. Ed Wiebe says, I would venture there is a classified terrorist drug trafficking sneak attack authorization somewhere. Maggot Vomit thinks we've got people undercover who are infiltrating the cartels, giving us information. Set to Chill thinks this isn't about drugs. A whole other question, which is very interesting, is the strikes on are all these strikes on the alleged drug boats, how does that connect with the threats toward Venezuela from the U.S., bringing in this huge military force to the Caribbean, threatening action on Venezuelan soil? How did the drug boat strikes connect to this? Is it like two different things? Or is it all part of the same thing? I mean, someone might try to argue that the drug boat strikes are being done to just send a message to Maduro. I don't know. You can make different arguments about this, but that's a whole other question. Edward Richard thinks the problem is that there is no due process. Leave the Goats Alone says drugs are the arms. They killed over 1 million Americans since 2023. Mark P85 says war on drugs? ? Gary Baines thinks you can see the drugs on the boats in the videos. Mike says Trump is doing what he said he would do. Barry says the fentanyl comes in through Mexico. Distant Galaxy says the drug cartels force-fed Americans drugs. That's a whole other issue. Is that, drugs are being taken not just because there's a supply, but because there's a demand for them. Someone might argue that is an important difference between, say, a drug smuggler, and you might not agree with this, but given that the White House keeps referring to them as narco-terrorists, and Pete Hegseth compares them to Al-Qaeda, some might argue that a significant difference between, say, a drug smuggler and Al Qaeda conducting a bombing on Americans is that for the drugs, people are willingly taking them. Now, somebody else might say, well, they're not willingly taking them because they're addicted to them. That's a whole other argument. So anyways, just it's a very complex situation with a lot of different aspects to it. John Q. Public on X says, our viewer, the U.S. Coast Guard routinely intercepts drug boats without killing the crew. The U.S. Navy could do the same thing. One of our viewers says, imagine whining about cartels being bombed. Green Neck says, I'm losing my patience with the drug cartels. Let me see if I can show you. I want to show you what Pete Hegseth had to say, because we didn't cover the Trump cabinet meeting a few days ago, but Pete Hegseth spoke about this then. So I want to pull that up. By the way, thanks to Kira Kiwi for your support. Kira Kiwi says, I don't understand the rationale of seeing survivors after the first strike, then striking with a second, instead of taking them into custody to gain further intel. It gives sloppy, lazy, and amateur. Thanks King Naka for being a member from the UK. Thanks Tyler Martin, who says we should read the Geneva Convention on the stream. Geneva Convention 2. Maybe at some point we will. Thanks to Ed Weeby, our member. Twitter-pated our member. Sevenfold. Thanks Sevenfold for your support. And Texas Snowman. Thank you. Texas Snowman, who mentioned the Geneva Convention. Now, with the Geneva Convention, there's this whole question about what that is meant to apply to and everything. I'm not a military lawyer or an international law lawyer. The Geneva Convention is about humanitarian treatment in war. Now, I don't know that would legally the Geneva Convention apply to this particular series of interactions between the U.S. military and these drug boats? I don't know. I don't even remember who all signed the Geneva Convention. So maybe we can talk about that in a little later. The U.S. has ratified the Core 4, I believe. But anyways, I don't want to, we can maybe get into that later. I do not have a good knowledge of Geneva Convention details. Thank you also to Dude Control, who gave another subscription over there on Twitch. Thank you so much, Dude Control. That's really nice of you. Thanks Destacierin for subscribing on Twitch, and Tatsiki for subscribing on Twitch. And shout out to our moderators. We have moderating Janet B., Roberts May Queen, Beth Mythical on YouTube. Thank you. And Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Bastion Girl, LB Prairie on Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, and Surly Dev on Twitch. And thank you also. Kay Larry Body and Margaret Riley have been moderating over there on Facebook. Thank you. Thanks Chuck Mosca for subscribing over there. I didn't thank Chuck before on Facebook as well. Let me show you guys from the cabinet meeting, hold on, what Secretary Hegseth said, if I can find it here. It was towards the end. Can I pull it up here? Let's see. I know he spoke about this. Here it is. Is this it right here? Let's see.
Marco laid out, everybody's laid out, and going in weird direction, and they're not. You see them up here.
I'm just pulling it up. Okay, this is from this week. This was on Tuesday. This was Tuesday when Pete Hegseth spoke about this, and also President Trump in the White House about this second strike. So let me we weren't covering this at the time, so I wanted to just play this for you. Hang on a moment here. Tuesday, the White House. So President Trump answers a question about it, and then Secretary Hegseth speaks about it. Play this for you.
Thank you so much for taking questions.
Thank you.
Sure. I wanted to clarify something that you had said on Sunday regarding the boat strikes near Venezuela. You had said that you didn't know if the second strike on that one boat had happened, or you wouldn't have wanted it. Now that your administration has acknowledged that it happened, do you support that second strike? And Mr. Secretary, I wanted to clarify something you had said in the interview back in September, I believe on Fox News. You said that you would watch that strike live on television. In real time, did you know that there were survivors after the initial strike?
Well, look, all I know is this. Every boat that you see get blown up, we save 25,000 on average lives. 25,000 lives. They've been sending enough of this horrible fentanyl and other things like cocaine and other things, but fentanyl right now is the leader of the pack, to kill our entire nation. Because a little speck on the head of a pin can kill somebody. It's very dangerous stuff. I know so many people where their sons were drug addicts. They had one little sample, and they died. They died. They couldn't believe it. As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't one strike, two strikes, three strikes. Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary person. I'll let Pete speak about him. But Pete was satisfied. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people. I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this, I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And there's very little coming in by sea. I think we've knocked out over 90% of it. There's very little, and I understand that. There's very little. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks. It's an amazing thing when you see a boat going along. And, a lot of the press would like to say they're not. You see the boat. They're not maybe drugs. You see these boats. First of all, who has 5 engines on the back of a boat going in weird directions and loaded up with lots of white containers? They're bags of things. No, they've done an amazing job, and Pete has done an amazing job. But Pete, you could probably better answer the question.
No, you're spot on, sir. I think you got to start with the baseline, which Marco laid out, everybody's laid out. You got 20 million people invading our country over 4 years. We don't know where they're coming from. That includes Tren de Aragua and cartels and violent criminals. They bring drugs, and you mentioned it, Mr. President, poisoning, an intentional poisoning of the American people, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military and spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and pat them on the head and say, don't do that again? Or do you end the problem directly by taking a lethal, kinetic approach? And that's the way President Trump has authorized the War Department to look at these cartels. And I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike? You personally?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
And Mr. Secretary, on the second strike, you said it happened more than an hour after the first strike?
I couldn't tell you the exact amount of time.
Minutes, or you had left the room?
I already stated my answer quite clearly.
So remember this, we lost last year, I think it was more than that, but people don't like saying it because they always said 100,000, 115,000, numbers we've been hearing for years. So we lost last year more than 200,000 people, dead people, ruined families beyond the 200,000. And those 200,000, that family will never be the same. But these people have killed over 200,000 people, actually killed over 200,000 people last year. And those numbers are down. Those numbers are down. They're way down. And they're down because we're doing these strikes, and we're going to start doing those strikes on land too. The land is much easier. It's much easier. And we know the routes they take. We know everything about them. We know where they live. We know where the bad ones live. And we're going to start that very soon too.
Mr. President, thank you so much, Mr. President.
And you know what? When we start that, we're going to drive those numbers down so low. And then you're going to have families be able to live without the fear of their son or daughter just having a pill to have a little fun and ending up dying within a period of 60 seconds, right? No, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let it continue to happen. What Biden did to this country by allowing all these people, and I call them animals in many cases, I think they're animals, to come into our country and destroy our country and let all those drugs pour in, let people just walk across the border like it was nothing. You look at them, a lot of them, you say, oh, let's not discriminate. I'm not talking about color. I'm just talking about you look into the eyes of some of these people. We're smart. And you see a killer. Come on in. Just come on in. 11,888 murderers. Many of them committed more than one murder. He allowed them into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. But he also allowed drugs to come in at record numbers. And hundreds of thousands of people a year died. And we're taking those son of a bitches out,
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for taking over Christians. I think this is the most transparent.
All right, so that was how President Trump and Pete Hegseth responded to this on Tuesday, with Pete Hegseth saying he was not physically in the room when the second strike happened. And President Trump has for I want to say for months now, periodically said that the U.S. is going to carry out strikes against drug-related targets on land in Latin America. He has said that multiple times. It has not happened yet. All right, let me take some comments from you guys. But you heard what Pete Hegseth said. Our viewer, Jerabi says, I guess time will tell. Robin, our viewer, says, and he will pardon the Honduran president. Yes, as we have mentioned previously, President Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras recently, who had been convicted in the U.S. and sentenced to 45 years in prison for, one of the things he was, and one of the main things he was charged with was helping to bring large amounts of cocaine into the U.S. Juan Orlando Hernandez, who President Trump pardoned. This is the DOJ press release from last year, which, among other things, in which U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said Juan Orlando Hernandez helped to facilitate the importation of an almost unfathomable 400 tons of cocaine to this country. Billions of doses sent to the United States with the protection and support of the former president of Honduras. Now, after years of destructive narco trafficking of the highest imaginable magnitude, Hernandez will spend 45 years where he belongs in federal prison. It turned out to be, I think, about 3 years. If I remember right, President Trump said that he had heard from others that the former president of Honduras had been treated unfairly. We talked about this on earlier streams. I don't know that President Trump has gone any further into that, his reasoning about that. He might have, I don't recall every single thing he said in the last week, but I don't know that he's gone into a bunch of detail about that. Anyway, some think that there's a contradiction between saying that we're conducting this war on drugs and pardoning the former president of Honduras, which is what I think our viewer was saying. Yeah, politically motivated. President Trump said that, he said in his post about this on True Social, he said that the former president of Honduras had been, according to many people that I greatly respect, treated very harshly and unfairly. I don't know if he specifically said politically motivated, but again, he might have, I don't have at hand all of the different comments he's made about it since then. Let's see here. Let me just see if I have any updates since we've been on the air. If you give me 2 seconds. Hang on a moment here. And I want to take some more comments from you guys, too. Andy Guns wrote in and said, this is all part of the new Cold War. Jonathan's Back thinks the administration will never release the video because they know what they are doing is illegal. Karen Moore says, who wouldn't try to flip a hull if you are in the water? This is crazy. So she thinks if the survivors are on video trying to flip a hull, that doesn't mean that they're, I guess, legitimate targets. That's what I think Karen Moore is saying. Alex Malarkey, our viewer, writes in and says, I don't think they will release the video because it will disrupt the narrative. It will disrupt the narrative. That's what Alex thinks. I am very interested in seeing whether the video of the strike on the boat gets released. Oh, hold on a second. What's this? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hey guys, I might have some video from, hold on, I may have some video from the Trump Kennedy Center dinner. I have access. So we covered earlier on this stream, we showed you Trump presenting medals in the Oval Office to this year's Kennedy Center Honors recipients. Tonight there's a dinner at the State Department. Reuters has a camera, I think, there. But currently they don't have any live video from there. So I'll keep an eye on that. While we're on the air, if I see anything, I'll let you know. What else? And then tomorrow night, Trump says he's going to host the big gala, isn't it? Or is it both gala or gala? One of these things I'll have to look up. Maybe you can say either. I think you can say either. Normally, I think I'd say gala. The big gala celebration or the award ceremony. So it's possible that I will have video of that tomorrow night. If I do, I'll cover it. I just don't know if I'll have live video of that tomorrow. All right, so I'll keep an eye out and see if we get any video from. Oh, I want to show you this too. But if I get any video in from that, I'll certainly show it to you. As we've been talking about these boat strikes, there was something else I wanted to show you. Can I pull this up here? I don't know if I have this here. I don't have that. Hold on. Oh, I know what I want to show you guys. So look, here's another report about what the video shows of the second strike on this drug boat. Video shows final confused moments of survivors of U.S. boat strike in Caribbean, say sources. This is a Reuters report. When the U.S. military carried out its first strike against a suspected drug boat in the Caribbean on September 2nd, the attack began with an airburst munition exploding above the 11-member crew like an umbrella of shrapnel. A video of the attack shown to U.S. lawmakers on Thursday and described to Reuters by two sources familiar with the imagery showed smoke clearing and two men who had somehow lived through the blast clinging to a severed section of the front of the vessel in a futile effort to survive. They were shirtless, unarmed, and carrying no visible communications equipment. They also appeared to have no idea what had just hit them, or that the U.S. military was weighing whether to finish them off. The video follows them for about an hour. As they tried to flip the boat back over, they couldn't do it, one source said. Admiral Frank Bradley, who was at the head of the Joint Special Operations Command at the time, concluded that the wreckage was likely being kept afloat because there was cocaine inside and could drift long enough to be recovered, said the sources. So Bradley decided that in order to complete the mission assigned by Defense Secretary Hegseth and neutralize the threat posed by the drug boat, he would need to attack the vessel again. The video showed 3 additional munitions being fired at the damaged vessel, said the sources. You could see their faces, bodies, then boom, 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 the first source said. Now again, there's different reporting on this. The Washington Post reports that Pete Hegseth ordered that the people on the boat all be killed, and that the second strike was to kill the survivors and additional strikes were to take out the boat. That's not what this report says. So again, that's just a bit of, we'll see if that video gets released. It certainly sounds, disturbing, but we'll have to see if it gets released to the public. Some people have seen it. Some members of Congress have seen it, but we can sit here and talk about reports of what's on it, but maybe at some point it'll just be released. Christy Claff says it sounds horrific. Bastion Girl says, who has the video? Well, the administration has it. Certainly the Pentagon has it. Crilly Lives says, seems more like people desperately trying to survive, but okay. No, Bastion Girl, the media does not have that video. The different media outlets have talked to people who either saw the videos or are familiar with them. So, there could be somebody who, there might be somebody who works with a congressman who has seen it or something. But I'm not aware that I haven't read any reports of media seeing these videos. But that's certainly, it's tough to hear that, about the video showing them for a couple people in the water for about an hour. You also wonder if it was an hour. Why did it take so long for the second strike if it was an hour? If you could see them sitting there for a while, was there this whole debate going on about what to do in the room? Talk Ornate History says, how can you try to flip the boat over even if the boat isn't in one piece? If the boat isn't even in one piece? Awkward Tickler thinks it's a war crime. Walkie Talkie thinks they were in the room debating what to do. The Reuters article points out that the Department of Defense's Law of War manual forbids attacks on combatants who are incapacitated, unconscious, or shipwrecked, as long as they abstain from hostilities and do not attempt to escape. The manual cites firing on shipwrecked survivors as an example of a clearly illegal order that should be refused. Now, I don't know if the administration is going to argue that, well, we weren't trying to kill the survivors, we were trying to take out the remaining drugs. I don't know. Oh, I want to show you this too. Reuters also had an article. Did the military commit a war crime in a boat attack off of Venezuela? Hey, thanks, I am Charlie, for your support. Oh, I owe a couple quick thank yous here, Hall. I'm sorry. I got behind. Thanks, I am Charlie. Thanks also Bez from Oz, who says Trump can't stop all the drugs. Thank you, Bez from Oz, for your support. Thank you also, Denali Brand, for being a member. Thanks, Kira Kiwi, for the memberships. It's very nice of you. Thanks, Stone in the Wasteland, who says, if you don't want to die from drugs, don't do drugs. Now, as I said before, certainly drugs can be extremely addictive. If you are addicted to drugs, incredibly difficult to stop. Some people can never stop. But, I do see, I know some of our viewers are making the point that they feel the drug problem is not just one of supply, it's also one of demand. As one of our viewers said, people are not being, I don't know, I can't speak for every single case, but most people are not being force-fed them by somebody else. But it's a difficult issue. And again, they can be very, very addictive. For some people, so addictive that they lose their life even trying to stop. Thank you, Criminy. Criminy says, stop the narco-terrorist drug smugglers. Thank you, Criminy, for your support. Kira Kiwi also mentions that Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves. Thanks, Stoned in the Wasteland, who says, bringing drugs into the country is illegal but not armed violence. Nobody is forcing a person to do the drugs. So thank you for your support. And I'm keeping an eye out to see if we get any video from the State Department dinner that Trump is at with the State Department. The State Department Kennedy Center dinner, Kennedy Center Honors dinner. Mr. Bigley Uncredible says, if you are trying to do some coke and then overdose on fentanyl, it is a problem. They are lacing it with stronger stuff. Walkie Talkie says, it's true that there's a supply and demand side, but cutting off supply makes a huge difference. So you can see Reuters has an article, did the U.S. military commit a war crime in boat attack off Venezuela? So, as we've discussed, there was this strike on September 2nd against an alleged drug boat. Reportedly, 2 people survived, and then another strike killed the people who were clinging to the boat's wreckage. Hegseth said he watched the first strike remotely in real time, but did not see survivors and went to another meeting. Hours later, he said he learned that Admiral Frank Bradley had ordered the second strike. Hegseth and the White House have defended the follow-on strike, although Trump said he would not have wanted a second strike and he would look into the event. Was the strike legal? Reuters says, killing suspected drug traffickers who pose no threat of causing imminent serious injury to others would be murder under U.S. and international law. However, the U.S. has framed the attacks as a war with drug cartels, calling them armed groups. The administration said its attacks comply with international rules known as the law of war or the law of armed conflict. Those international rules require the U.S. to distinguish between civilians and combatants, avoid attacks that cause disproportionate civilian harm, limit force to legitimate military objectives, and avoid unnecessary suffering. The laws allow for the use of deadly force in self-defense, and the Trump administration has said the drug cartels pose an imminent threat to the United States. The administration has described illegal narcotics as a weapon and said the gangs have caused thousands of American deaths. Human rights groups, including Amnesty International, have condemned the attacks, and several legal experts said the drug cartels do not fit the accepted international definition of an armed group, which is understood as an organization like Al-Qaeda that carries out sustained attacks for political or ideological reasons. The critics say that designating the cartels as terrorists does not legitimize the attacks. U.S. attacks on Al-Qaeda were considered legal not because they were designated terrorists, but because Congress authorized strikes on the groups tied to the September 11, 2001 attacks. Congress, which has the power to declare war, has not authorized attacks on the drug cartels. Even if the campaign against the drug trafficking boats had been authorized by Congress, Reuters says, some former military lawyers said the strike against survivors would be a war crime if the military knowingly killed survivors. The Defense Department's Law of War manual forbids attacks on combatants who are incapacitated, unconscious, or shipwrecked, provided they abstain from hostilities or are not attempting to escape. The manual cites firing upon shipwreck survivors as an example of a clearly illegal order that should be refused. Legal challenges to these strikes would face high hurdles in U.S. courts, as judges often defer to the president on matters of security, and it is unclear if anyone would have standing to sue. U.S. allies, including France, have raised concerns that the strikes were illegal, and the family of one person allegedly killed in the strikes filed a complaint with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. However, international tribunals have little influence over the Trump administration, and the U.S. is not a signatory to the International Criminal Court, which hears cases of large-scale war crimes, and it has a veto at the UN Security Council. The U.S. military and Justice Department also have the power to investigate and ultimately pursue charges against anyone who broke the law. It will be important for investigators to understand who ordered the second strike, the intent of the order, whether the boat was navigable after the first strike, and when survivors were discovered. If investigations determine that unlawful killings took place, prosecutors could pursue murder charges or charges for war crimes. Both Hegseth and Bradley could have legal liability, although there is little precedent for pursuing combat-related charges against a top officer. Also, a defendant cannot claim they were following orders if those orders were clearly illegal. Trump could pardon anyone who was convicted of a federal or war crime, and also pardon them before they were convicted, I believe. Pardon them to protect them against possible conviction. So, a little background there. Again, I'm not a legal expert, but a little kind of general background. Mudmore says, just following orders is no excuse. Yeah, I just wonder, again, I wonder if the line from the administration going forward is going to be that the second strike was against the remaining boat and not the survivors, and that the survivors were collateral damage. But another thing I wonder is, so what will be released to the public? Will the footage be released to the public? Also, what will be released to Congress? Are there notes or recordings of what was going on in that room after the first strike, of what that discussion was? Will, for example, Congress be allowed to interview people in that room and say, okay, what did you see on the video after the first strike? What were you folks talking about in the room? What were you debating? Why was the decision ultimately made to take the second strike? I don't know if Congress is going to have that information. Susie Iris thinks an hour is a long time to make a decision. Two people struggle. Geez, come on, Heggie, fess up. Craig Giles, we already covered the earthquake in Alaska in the first part of this stream. You can rewind and check it out. Our viewer, Freezed Diamond, thinks there has to be notes from when this was going on, this operation was going on. Was Up Infidel says, I totally support Trump's fight against drugs. Moot thinks that they targeted the capsized vessel. That's the out. They were just collateral. Lionhearted says, if killing potentially unarmed men is not a war crime, then what is? Darth Selendis says, no such thing as innocent drug dealers. Magwa says you can still complete the mission without murder. Nin Loki says there are no war crimes. Mudmore says it's murder. Thank you, Andy Taylor. Andy says it's war, not criminal justice. All right, give me 1 second here. We'll see if there's any more updates. I don't have any video from the dinner at this point. Thanks, Dude Control, for another gift sub. I think Dude Control has given 7 gift subs. That's so nice of you, Dude Control. Thank you. Also, Douthis, thanks for the gift sub. And Anonymous Gifter for the gift sub. That's really nice of you. Thank you. Over there on Twitch, a bunch of gift subs. One of our viewers mentioned that political, well, I would say news commentator and media personality Tim Pool, he wrote on his social media that a vehicle approached their property last night and opened fire. That's what Tim said. I'll show you what he said. One of our viewers mentioned this earlier. Tim said that last night a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. That is what Tim said. I'm glad no one was hurt in this incident. I don't really have more details on this, what Tim was describing. But he claimed that somebody opened fire. I guess when he says our property, people says he means his home. So I guess he meant his home. When he said a vehicle approached our property, he meant his home, I believe. That's what he says happened. Anyways, just wanted to let you know. All right, let me just see if we have any other. By the way, I just saw this, by the way. Stephen Chung, the White House spokesperson, White House Director of Communications, just posted, it's 7 p.m. on a Saturday night and President Trump is still in the Oval Office working. It's truly remarkable to witness, and it shows he will always put the American people first. Now, I believe there's a dinner scheduled for right now. I don't know if he's at the dinner yet, though. Anyways, that's what Stephen Chung said. Oh, I did want to mention this. There was some other news I wanted to mention real quick. We talked about this a little bit earlier. So several months ago, there was a terrible attack on a Ukrainian woman, on a fatal attack on a Ukrainian woman on the Charlotte light rail. And what happened is there was another attack that happened yesterday, where a 33-year-old man has been charged with critically injuring another person in a stabbing on a Charlotte commuter train. A few months after a Ukrainian refugee riding one of the city's trains was killed in an unrelated attack. The person who was arrested for this new attack is Oscar Solarzano 33. And he's been in the Fox News' Bill Malugin reported that this person had been twice deported, including deported under the Biden administration, and had come back into the country illegally. You can see a judge said that the suspect was in the U.S. illegally and had previously been deported. The suspect appeared to be intoxicated and was slurring his words when he challenged the victim to a fight, said an arrest warrant. The attack comes less than 4 months after a 23-year-old woman from Ukraine was killed on a Charlotte commuter train in an apparently random assault, captured on video. That victim had been living in a bomb shelter in Ukraine before coming to the U.S. to escape the war. A suspect, DeCarlos Brown Jr., has been charged for first-degree murder for her killing. And we covered that a bit, and that suspect, I believe, he wasn't here in the country illegally, but didn't he have a number of criminal charges, if I remember right? Let me see here. It's trying to find background on that. I'm trying to find the background on that. It was a while ago. That one the one from several months ago. I just don't remember everything perfectly. So I was just trying to find some more about that. Yeah, one article I'm seeing online talks about him, that suspect having had a number of previous arrests. Yeah, ABC6 had posted an article, deadly light rail stabbing suspect had 14 prior arrests, diagnosed with schizophrenia. That's from several months ago. Anyways, but so now we have this second attack within I think 4 months on a Charlotte train, which is scary. WCNC said in this new attack, the suspect was intoxicated on the light rail train and challenged the victim to a fight and was shouting at others prior to the stabbing, said court records. Oh, I'm sorry, and President Trump posted about this new Charlotte attack. Now, President Trump said another stabbing by an illegal migrant in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, remember, the one several months ago was not somebody in the country illegally, as far as I'm aware. He said, what's going on in Charlotte? Democrats are destroying it like everything else, piece by piece. Building Karma says, I live in Charlotte and wants the National Guard there. U.S. rights and freedoms regarding the boats thinks the only way drug lords will stop transporting drugs by sea is when they are up against what Trump has done to them. Okay. Anyways, I wanted to just mention that Charlotte story because we had talked about it a little bit earlier. Lucy Goosey thinks there are way bigger threats the administration ignores every day. I think she's talking about the drug boat thing. Hey, thanks, I Am Charlie, for your support. I really appreciate it. I Am Charlie. Thank you. I Am Charlie, I think, is going to a Turning Point USA event soon. Element DW says, so was this the only stabbing in the USA all day or the only one by an immigrant? I was just mentioning it because it was the second major incident, violent incident on a Charlotte train within 4 months. That's why I was mentioning it. All right, guys, I think we are reaching our time. We came on the air to cover, well, we initially talked about that 7.0 Alaska earthquake. We talked about that earlier. Then we showed you the live footage of President Trump, his live medals presentation of the Kennedy Center Honor Medals in the Oval Office. Then we talked about the latest on the drug boat strikes controversy, which we'll be keeping an eye on. I do not know if I will have video tomorrow night of President Trump. He says he's going to host the Kennedy Center Honors broadcast. Now, the broadcast itself is supposed to be later in December. It's supposed to get recorded tomorrow night. But I may have live footage of it. If I have live footage of it, I will cover it. Okay? But I don't know yet. So also, if there's huge news tonight, I will come back on the air. But for now, I'm going to start wrapping up this live stream. So I really appreciate you guys joining the stream and also for the discussion of the complex and controversial drug boat topic. And we will certainly cover that. And I will be looking out for other news as well. But I appreciate you joining me for the stream. One of our viewers said the volume is not as loud on the stream. Well, I'm looking at the levels and it looks as loud to me. So one of our viewers said something about the volume, but normally if there's a huge problem with the stream, I get lots of people saying something to me. That's the first complaint I've got about the volume. But I'll check my settings after. Okay. So I really appreciate you guys being here for the broadcast. And if there's big news tonight, we'll come on the air. And if I have video of that thing tomorrow, I'll come on the air and cover that. So if you want, you can subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news coverage here without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. And turn on the notifications. I never know when there's going to be some huge big news and I got to run back on the air and cover it. And when all of our, I can't tell you in advance when all of our broadcasts are going to be, but you can avoid missing a stream by signing up for our free notifications. They work really well. We do it through Discord. You sign up once, you get sent a notification whenever we go live. The mods will post a link to sign up for the free notifications. You can also find that link on YouTube and Facebook in the description of this broadcast. So check out. So I highly recommend you sign up for those. And I will post updates about the news on my X account, which is @Lookner on X. You can follow me there if you'd like on X @Lookner for breaking news updates. And let's shout out. Ventura Highway says that the broadcast is loud. Thanks, Don Coe, for watching and your kind words over on X. Hey, huge thanks to our moderators for being here. We could not have chat rooms without our moderators. They are the ones who keep things under control in the chat so we can have people with different opinions discussing things, which is great. So thanks so much to our mods, people like Ruth and Janet B. and Roberts Mayqueen and Danny James and Beth Mythical over there on YouTube. Very, very much appreciate it. Also on X, Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha moderate for us over there on Twitch. Bastion Girl, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire. Matthew Kohai 3, and Surly Dev. Thank you so much on Twitch and all of our other Twitch mods and our Facebook mods. Paul Anderson, Kayla Ribati, Sharon Klassen Goslin. Sharon Klassen Goslin, one of our subscribers. Thanks, Sharon, for being a subscriber. Margaret Riley, thank you. And all of our other Facebook moderators. Big thanks to you. And I also want to thank everybody who donated. That's super nice of you guys. I really appreciate all of your support for the channel. That's what allows this channel to exist, is your support. So big thanks to you. Let's see here. I want to make sure I got everybody. Did I thank? I thanked I Am Charlie. Yep. And Cece, thanks for your support on Twitch. Cece, I really appreciate that. If you ever want to donate to the channel, it's agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But thanks so much for your support. That's really nice of you guys. And thanks to Sausage419 for your support. Thanks so much. And thanks for shouting out the mods. Hey, you can also follow us on X. It's another good way to find out when we're live. Is follow us on X. If you're on X, at AgendaFreeTV. I post there when we're going live. I post updates about the channel there too, at AgendaFreeTV. Oops, let's see here. I posted the long link. Sorry, I'll post the right link. There we go. Hey, also, we do have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. The Discord chat, it's free. A number of our viewers like doing that. Check out our free Discord chat to chat with other viewers. The link is the same as the free notifications link. Same link. So check that out. And big thanks to our Discord mods for all you do. Thank you, Discord mods. Also, I want to mention for those who watch on YouTube, I would suggest turning on the YouTube notifications. Another good way to find out when we're live. Over there on YouTube, the way you sign up for the notifications there is you need to subscribe to the channel, then you click the bell and you choose all notifications. So again, subscribe, click the bell, choose all notifications. And what else here? Oh, thanks so much to our Twitch subscribers. I should have thanked you earlier. I'm sorry. I got delayed. Sandy, Doggo, Wall Street, Shaggy, Matthew Kohai 3. Really appreciate you subscribing and supporting the channel on Twitch. Hazitude, Dude Control, and thanks for all the gift subs, Dude Control. Desarian, Tatsiki, thank you for subscribing. CC, Chi-Town Bear, I got that fire. Hesters, if I said that right. Hellsters. And all of our other Twitch subscribers. Terminator Pig, thanks for subscribing. Artful Nothing, Firestar, the My Mind Spray. Thank you, Twitch subscribers. And our Facebook subscribers. Shannon Davis Hughes. Oh, and thanks, Shannon, for moderating. I missed you before. Thanks so much, Shannon Davis Hughes. Chuck Mosca, thanks for being a subscriber. Sharon Klassen Goslin, Christy Claft, Kayla Ribati, Margaret Riley, Robert Rial II, and also, let's see, who did I miss? I think I missed somebody over there. Let's see. All of our other subscribers over there on Facebook. Sorry if I miss people. And our YouTube members, thanks so much, YouTube members. People like Larry Martinez, Evelyn in Maine, Sydney 91, Lucy Goosey, Goxbirds, Gary Baines, Ken Lance, I Love Etna, the one and only, Chaz Martin, Firestar, the J.K. Cinar, Dean R., Gary Baines, I think I said Gary Baines, it doesn't matter, we'll say it again, Larry Martinez, Barry69, and Paula Faust, Sydney, and all of our other YouTube members. Big thanks. Confidence in God, thank you. And everybody else for watching. Nicolette Parker, Sarah, Sandra Lee, Harutunian Trinity, Artist Caverlin, Nicolette Parker, thanks for watching. Norma Plummer, thank you for watching. Melissa Terry, Pyro the Great, thanks again, Dude Control, for watching. Magua, thanks for watching. Cameron Patrick, and everybody else for watching. Paula Faust, Shell Rowlands, Jake Blues. All right, guys. So again, if there's big news tonight, I will come on the air and cover it. I will be on the lookout to see if I have footage. I never got more footage from the dinner tonight, but who knows? Maybe tomorrow night I'll have footage of Trump hosting things at the Kennedy Center honors. Maybe the White House will even carry it. We'll have to see. I'll be on the lookout. But I really appreciate you joining. Thanks for letting me read your comment. Thanks for letting me read your comments on the air and for writing in with your comments and your questions. Thank you. And for all the discussion. And that is it for right now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.